The Ottoman Empire, a name that still echoes with power, a vast dominion stretching across 3 continents, a bridge between East and West. At its heart, driving its expansion and shaping its destiny, were the sultans. These were not mere rulers, they were warriors, statesmen, and patrons of the arts, embodying the ambition and spirit of their age. Among them, Sultan Murad II stands tall, a figure often overshadowed by his son, Mehmed the Conqueror, yet crucial to understanding the empire's rise. Murad II was not just a conqueror, he was an architect. He inherited an empire still reeling from a recent defeat, its borders threatened, its stability uncertain. Through sheer force of will, military prowess, and shrewd political maneuvering, he not only secured the Ottoman domains, but laid the groundwork for their future expansion. His reign, though marked by constant warfare and internal strife, saw the empire emerge stronger, more unified, and poised for greatness. This is the story of the Sultan who rebuilt an empire, brick by bloody brick, and whose legacy would pave the way for his son to conquer Constantinople. Murad II ascended the Ottoman throne in 1421 at the tender age of 17. One can only imagine the weight of responsibility falling upon such young shoulders. The empire he inherited was a far cry from the unstoppable force it would become. The once mighty Ottomans had been shaken to their core by the devastating defeat at the hands of Timur, the fearsome Central Asian warlord. Provinces were in open revolt, rival claimants to the throne emerged from the shadows, and the Byzantine Empire, though a shadow of its former self, saw an opportunity to reclaim lost glory. Young Murad, however, possessed a steely resolve belying his age. He understood that the very survival of the Ottoman dynasty rested on his ability to restore order and assert his authority. His first challenge came from within, as his own uncle, claiming the throne for himself, ignited a civil war. Murad, displaying the decisiveness that would characterize his reign, crushed the rebellion, but the experience left an indelible mark. It taught him the fickle nature of power and the ever-present threat of internal dissent, lessons he would carry with him throughout his rule. The specter of rebellion, once unleashed, is a difficult one to banish. No sooner had Murad II dealt with his uncle's uprising than a new threat arose, this time from an unexpected source, his own brother, Mustafa Çelebi. Supported by the ever-scheming Byzantine emperor, Mustafa gathered a considerable force, his claim to the throne stirring unrest within the already volatile empire. Murad, faced with this betrayal from within his own family, was forced to divert precious resources and energy to quell this internal strife. The ensuing conflict was a brutal affair, marked by bloody battles and shifting alliances. Murad, however, displayed not only military might but also political cunning. He exploited divisions within Mustafa's ranks, turning his brother's allies against him. Finally, in 1422, Mustafa was defeated and executed, his rebellion put down. Yet the victory came at a cost. The empire, though once again unified, had been weakened by the internal strife, its vulnerability exposed for its enemies to see. The young sultan had learned another harsh lesson. The price of power was eternal vigilance, not just against external foes, but also against those closest to home. Murad II understood that the Ottoman Empire, surrounded by enemies and beset by internal strife, needed a military edge to survive. He was not content with simply inheriting the legacy of his forefathers. He sought to improve upon it, to forge a fighting force that would be the envy of the world. This drive for innovation led him to embrace a new technology that was beginning to revolutionize warfare: gunpowder. While earlier sultans had used cannons and firearms sporadically, Murad II recognized their true potential. He invested heavily in the production of cannons, both large and small, and incorporated them into his armies as a core component. He established dedicated corps of musketeers, armed with the latest firearms, training them to fight in disciplined formations that maximized their firepower. This focus on gunpowder weaponry gave the Ottomans a decisive advantage on the battlefield, allowing them to overwhelm their enemies with devastating barrages and break through previously impregnable defenses. Murad's embrace of gunpowder not only modernized the Ottoman army, but also foreshadowed the future of warfare, where cannons and firearms would dominate the battlefield for centuries to come.